Jim G7NTG first, followed by John G7JTT from. Okay then, here we go. So, good evening all. The order tonight will be Jim G7NTG, followed by John G7JTT, followed by Rob M0DTS, Mike G0MJW, Noel G8GTZ, Martin G4FKK, and Michelle HB9DUG. Good to see all the regulars on and all the watchers over in Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well, which is good. And Nigel. What's gone on this week then? Well, hi Tim and Brian. Noel and I have been writing CQTV articles. I hope you all have as well. Deadline is next week. It would be really good to have some articles other from the G8G team. The other event this week is, I'm sure you've all seen, we've issued a new version of the band plan and operating guidelines for QO100. Minor changes. The main things are making it clear that copyright music is unacceptable. 500 kilosymbol transmission should take place in the wide and narrow part, and DVB-T should be in the lowest channel of the wide and narrow part. So that's the main changes there. But really, what we've all tried to do is write down common sense and good behaviour. It's challenged a few people, but that's what we've tried to do, and it's guidance, just to make you make best use of the transponder. Right, I know there are a few things that people want to show tonight, especially John, so let's go around to G first and then we'll go around to John, and I'll put the order up in the chat. G7NTG to take it, G8GKQ and the BATC Net.
Getting ready to jump on the mute button. So it doesn't keep repeating for ages. Yeah, good evening everybody. Yes, I saw the your notes on the QO100 band plan, and yes, that's very good. Nice to have a bit of definition there. It's getting so busy now that there's a few slight conflicts arise, and yes, some of the pre-recorded music, I must say, can be a bit as a musician it can be a bit well, yeah. Yeah, and I was actually wondering, how about non-copyright music? How about if I pick up a guitar and jam in front of the camera? Is that acceptable? Something original, just as an audio check, mind. I've been playing about, I've just started to look at some of this 30 terahertz stuff. So I've got myself some nice little parabolic mirrors, which seem to be quite good. I don't know how good they're going to show up in the camera, but they appear to be relatively distortion free, and I've also bought myself a sensor, which is this tiny little thing. I don't know how close I can get with this. Will it focus on it? Now it's not really going to focus on that very well, is it? Tiny little sensor. It's a thermopile sensor, so that's the one that everybody seems to be using, which sort of ties in a little bit with the light and infrared stuff that everybody's been talking about. It's a little bit different, so I thought I'd have a go at that. I can this sort of thing I can do initially across the shack and then up the garden just at short range and do some experiments. So yeah, that's something a little different to try, rather than building hundreds of monster power amps. And yeah, so I think it's time for me to hand it on to John, who's probably going to give us a bit of interesting information on this light equipment. We'll see. Anyway, G7JTT from G7NTG. Over to you, John.
Right. Oh, apologies for the F1 EJP in there. I've left it in the script by mistake, but it is actually John, and it is definitely me. Oh, the provider. Sorry. Yeah. I tell you what it was. I just saw that Dominic just literally uploaded a new version, so I just quickly whipped it down, stuck it on, and obviously haven't changed everything yet. Anyway, I should start off by saying I have never before, so basic and some scripts and things like that. I've never kind of proper programming, and I don't think I have done any programming, but everything's here, and I just wanted to do some. Okay, right. So icon that. I'll just move down there a little bit. Just some bits and pieces. See. FEC and whether you want HD. Eventually we'll go into ports down and to running. So that is just sort of working, but at the moment. Config file, which at the moment just has the IP address in, but eventually we'll have all the defaults up here, so they'll be saved to it as well. The submit button will eventually send it all to the two items, the script and the ports down. But at the moment it just brings up Dominic's script, which if I can do onto the top screen there. Right, so at the moment this is just a straightforward usual thing. I'm just going to accept defaults for a minute. There we go. Press the key to C2. So that's the script now running. Eventually, as I say, that will be automated, hopefully. So at the moment, Minitune is not receiving, I think. And what we're going to do now is go to Start TX, which eventually will cause some signals. Not quite sure why it takes so long at the moment. I think it's because of the way I've got it lashed up in the shack. So there's this transmit. I just realised I've got my voice in my head now. That's better. Right, so at the moment that's allowed you to transmit without touching the ports down. Because it's but and that
Right, let's see. There we go. Got a little bit more now. Okay. So yeah. Oh, I'll bring this one up first anyway. So this is the recent merch I've got for a couple of repeaters there. Oh, not that merch, that's other merch. So on the left hand side we got a thank you off Thomas DL5BCA for helping him out with their version of the audio mixer that I designed for KM. They've built like is it 18 channel, or it's a lot of channels audio mixer anyway, using the FPGA and the ADCs and to fit DB0OV. Thomas was kind enough to send us a mug here, so we start the collection now. And Terry just recently got a KM one made up as well, so yeah, I'll have to get a little shelf with all these mugs on now, but there we are. Right. Yeah, don't just try not to look behind on there. The clutter is getting pretty bad. I need to get that sorted. So comments. What was mentioned? Oh, the band plan. Yeah, I was quite happy with that one because I didn't need to change quick tune. So was that was that intentional? It was good fortune on my end anyway. I don't know. 30 terahertz, Jim. Yeah, that should be quite interesting. I think Barry has managed to detect heat sources at about 90, 100 meters away, something like that, with a bit bigger dish than them. The firelighter things you can get off eBay, I think I do have one of them to try out. But, I'm trying to get that bit of edge of the monitor out of the camera shot. There we go. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you get on with that. I've got some bits for it, playing around with the high frequencies, but haven't really done anything with that yet. Yeah, fine on your coding, John. Yeah. Like I say, it's just good luck. I just dabble around with stuff, and eventually you kind of get where you need to be. I was wondering whether my signal's actually particularly good tonight. I don't know whether it's a bit jumpy. Not really sure. Need to double check. So yeah, nothing new for me. I haven't done any more with the 2 meter amp yet, but I hopefully should get that done. Well, get some more done in the next few days. I've just been working on my 77s amp today to get that back in the outdoor rack, so I can send some signals up for Terry at KM. KM's now streaming most days with 3 analog receivers and 3 digital receivers. So been doing quite a bit of software stuff on there, just some tweaks and things like that. So one thing we found we couldn't do is send a band or a preset tune command to Ryde, but I think what we'll do in the end is just manually scan using the Pi remote controlling the Ryde inside KM anyway. So, but we'll see how that goes. Right, I'll not hang on to it too long because there's probably quite a few people. So round to Mike. G0MJW, M0DTS.
Right, hopefully that's working. If it isn't, shout and complain, etc. on the chat. I think it is. It was working earlier. That doesn't mean it will be now, but it's usually a good sign. Right, okay. Very interesting so far. Nice lens, Jim. You can go for your WAS award with that. Worked all soldering irons. And nice demo, John. Looking forward to that software. And Rob software as well, which we were looking at earlier. Anyway, moving on to things, seeing as there's quite a few people. Been working on this so far, this week rather. The parts from Noel arrived on Saturday, the PCB. I already had most of the parts from DigiKey, so this is the Winter Hill prototype, final set of PCBs. I think Noel probably ordered more than 5. It takes 2 tuners, as everyone will remember, and a Pi 4 and a couple of PICs. And it does stuff. It receives multiple channels. And if there were more people on, this demo would be better, but there you go. So let's just get it to tune using Rob's wonderful software. It's tuning 4 channels, so it's this one on the right at the moment. The other one downstairs is the prototype, the previous prototype that's running automatic tuning.
So you should now be seeing up to 8 different channels all being received at the same time. It seems to have only managed to decode a few of them at the moment. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe that one's a little bit too weak. That's probably it. Because my my splitter at the moment is just a T-piece. You can probably just about make that out in the picture, and that's probably not the best splitter in terms of RF efficiency. And bear in mind the LMB is being split several times. It does tend to lose out a bit. Anyway, so that's what's on the bench at the moment, just that. I might show a few other things on the next over. Don't have anything really to say apart from that, and we'll see who goes next. I think it's Noel. So G8 GTZ, G0 MJW.
Yes, evening all. Good to hear everybody. Right, so what's been happening here? Bit less active this week. A couple of things. Been still working on the big ATV chassis, which is on the bench. It's coming on. Got in types and stuff now on the back panel. Hole for the fan. Still trying to decide if I'm going to put the actual ports down in. I think I probably will. That's the back panel, obviously. Got the front panel to do. I've left room roughly where that meter and cardboard box is for the ports down to go on the front panel, and put the 8-band switch and all the drivers and everything in there. That's the plan, so it's coming on. I've got a breaker tripped. No, I haven't. What Rob means by that. No. Breaker behind me. What? Oh yes. How did you see that? Must have been a mirror. Oh yes. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yes, the that's the immersion heater turned off in case we accidentally turn it on in here in cupboard, and I'm too mean to yeah. So that's the main thing that's been going on the bench. The target is to try and get the 77s amplifier working for a couple of weeks' time. I'm not going to disclose when the date of the next activity weekend is, because I got it wrong last month and threw everybody. I thought it was a week before. It actually was. Mentioned it on this net, and somehow it gained a life of its own, and I got into trouble from the BATC contest manager for messing things about. So but there is a 2 meter and 77 activity weekend this this month, isn't there? So I might try and get the 77 amp working by then. Other things, 47 gigs. I'm trying to do battle and understand WR19 and WR28. I think I've got there. Writing an interesting article for CQTV, which is explaining OFDM, which has meant much pondering over documents on the web to refresh my memory and get it all back to me. So that's going on. The big achievement this week was I actually fixed. Yes, I've still got your WG22 mic. and some other bits and pieces of yours. I stumbled across it as I was looking for other waveguide. But no, the big achievement of the week was I fixed the flat screen in the shack. I was most impressed with this. The TV that I watch QO100 and everything else in on getting the habit of just turning off, and so that panel there, I actually took my life into my own hands and had changed the electrolytics, ordered some big high voltage electrolytics, and actually changed them in the power supply. So I was well impressed with that. And the other thing is, Dave and I have been trying to understand whether the Pluto actually transmits on 51 megs DATV. And for your information, Dave, when I tried mine today, it did, although it didn't at the weekend. Well, I think it actually didn't to begin with, but it did after a while, so I'm not sure quite what's going on. So I've been interested in other people's comments on that as to whether they think Pluto's work for DATV on 50 megs. Anyway, enough from me. Oh look, Rob says his is okay, so maybe it's mine. That's good news if that is the case, because otherwise we've got a bit of a dilemma that we hadn't got a DVB-T solution on 50 megs for the Portstown 4. Yeah, okay, that's good news. I'll have to have another look at mine, but it certainly did work today. Right, round to Martin, I believe. No, it doesn't work on 10 meters. That's I think Dave FRE says the line works on 28 megs, but it produces a horrible, nasty spike on 30 megs. Yeah, I'd try it, Rob. Dave G4FRE reported this week that when he tried to use his line on 29 megs, there was a massive spike at 30 megs. So it'd be interesting to try. But I think that's really transverter area. Certainly we've got to do an up convert on the receive as well. So I've actually got an Anglian 2 meter transverter. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Dave reported his did, but yeah. But I think it's transverter territory if you want to get down to 29 megs. Anyway, I think you said it was Martin next. So round to you, Martin. G4FKK and the BATC.
Yeah, okay, Noel. Thank you for that. Let's get a picture on. Yes, evening all. Well, you've all been very busy, haven't you? I've been extremely busy in the garden, knocking down an old shed. I intend to build a workshop down there eventually. And yeah, you were talking about clutter, Rob. Well, I daren't show you most of my shack, but hopefully a new workshop down the end of the garden will help that. On the light front, it was my birthday the other day. My son bought me this little pocket LED torch, which doesn't look too threatening. It's only tiny. But if you press one of the buttons long enough, is it that one? No, that one. It I could turn all the lights off, all the other lights off, and there'd still be plenty. It's a very scary thing. Band plans and copyright music. Yes, I did wonder about that, Jim. I've got in the shack, back of the shack, I've got my old, got the old Hofner. That's a 1959 President, same year as me, and I've got the old Fender Twin in the shack. But I do remember being raided when I was about 17. When I was on Top Band, I was twanging a ruler and playing the guitar, and I wonder if anyone remembers Vic Frisbee. It turns out the post office monitoring station was just round the corner from where I lived at the time. So he was very displeased, actually. So I won't be doing any of that. John, that looked like a good bit of programming to me. I have done some programming with Visual Studio or whatever it was called. No, Visual Basic years and years ago, but I tend not to trouble PCs. I don't know if you were running that on a PC or not, but it looked very good. And Dominique's script is a bit of a revelation, actually. It did help that Colin G4EML discovered that some of the i5 chips have got some form of hardware encoding. Mine won't do H.265, but it will do H.264, and Dominique's script works brilliantly with that. So that was good. The Winter Hill mic looks absolutely superb, and one day I'll have to try and work out how you've managed to get 8 pictures on the one screen, but that looked very good. Did that pie look like it was upside down in the Winter Hill? I guess that's a design choice. And Noel, looking forward to the OFDM article, and well done on fixing the fixed monitor. I have tried the Pluto on 50 megs, but not any sort of TV, and I could get it to transmit on SSB on 50 megs, but I couldn't make it receive. So but that doesn't matter for DATV. Anyway, I've got nothing else of great interest, so it's round to you. Other than Dave, there was a little note on the chat from Keith, GU6EFB. I don't know if you noticed that, and I don't know whether he's ready to transmit, but he was threatening to get a signal going at one point. So Keith, if you're watching, good evening. And round to you, Michelle, HB9 DUG, G4 Foxtrot, Kilo, standing by.
Un, deux, trois, HB9 DUG. Good evening to everybody. Very pleased to be back with you all tonight. This week I've been and last week pretty busy with the children of my daughters, as it was school holidays, but I found some time to play around with DVB-T, and I'm trying to do an online demonstration tonight of, at least for me and my friend F5DB, first, because it's really the first time we do a real DVB-T transmission based on SDR equipments. We have done a lot of DVB-T in the past with HIDES equipment and SR systems. But tonight you can start to see on my screen, I will show you that a bit bigger. That should come right now. Okay, so what you are seeing here is the receptions of DVB-T transmission done by Bernard. He's living about 40-45 kilometers from my place behind Geneva. He's transmitting with the Porsdon 2020 with Lime Mini.
Right now we are working on the 437 megahertz at bandwidth of 255, and what else I can see? Right now is transmitting. Let me that put on the screen. Up. Is transmitting right now with the how do you call that in French? We call that a mirror from the Boston 2020, and is going to move to a webcam F5DB. Tu peux switcher sur la caméra. And on my side, I'm receiving using GNU Radio. I'm receiving using GNU Radio, and you heard the stop of the transmission because it's switching to the camera. So I'm using a graph with the GNU Radio. I have not done most of it because is a part of the GNU Radio examples. The only difference is that I'm trying to integrate some automatic frequency control, and I'm using USRP B200 SDR machine from Etus, which are very nice machines. So I'm going to put back the camera. Should come. Hey, lucky, the demo is working. So you will see in a few seconds my friend Bernard. Could maybe make the pictures a little bit bigger if I can select it. Come on. Yes. Ah. That's it. Here's Bernard, F5DB, old-timer in the precursor around the Lake of Geneva on DATV. In fact, he's my mentor. He's the guy who introduced me to DV, to television, FM television. In fact, I was listening to the frequency, and they were talking about television, and then he said to me, "Do you have a FM tuner?" And I said, "Yes, I have a FM tuner." And he says, "Where are you living?" I said, "I'm living here." "Oh, we are in a direct view, so certainly you should receive my transmission," because he had a lot of power. So I made a quick dipole with coax on 23 centimeters, and I was receiving this image, and that's no more than a lot of years that we are doing television together. So it was just to show you that we have a lot of different options to do TV and DVB-T, and using different technology. Old one and advanced like this one, using just GNU Radio, and that's will end my first run tonight. So next one is next one on the list is, I believe, Dave. So this is Hotel Bravo 9 DUG, giving back the frequency for the BATC Net. GKQ next. Just need a minute or two my screen are full of
Thanks very much, Michelle. Right, just had to check the audio came back. Really impressive demo, and it's great to see the Portstown 2020 and Lime SDR working. So please pass my thanks on to Bernard for getting that up and running. It does make it all the software effort worthwhile when you see it in use. I'm really pleased. And a really impressive demo of GNU Radio there as well. So, as you say, there are so many options now for various aspects of DATV, and I think that can actually confuse newcomers to the hobby, which was a theme of an article I was writing for CQTV today. Okay, John, JTT, your pictures were superb this evening, really good. Software programming, we all do it that way. It's suck it and see. All of us who weren't classically trained anyway. And the Portstown transmit delay is standard. That is, you won't get any better than that with a Lime. Pluto on 51 megs seems to work fine for me every time. I wondered whether there was a difference between some of the board versions for Pluto, but not sure what the issue is there. Lime, I was looking at it, and I never saw the lower sideband on 28 or 29 megs, but perhaps I didn't have the analyzer wound that far out. I just saw this big carrier at 30 megs and stopped there. But anyway, I think that's transverter territory, as Noel says. Lime RFE, Mike. Yes, they are going to ship fairly soon. They were doing the latest testing, I heard, during this week. For those of you who don't know what a Lime RFE is, hang on, I might be able to get some more light onto that. Let's chuck that light over there so it reflects light over here. And this is a Lime RFE. Basically, you stick a Lime SDR on these two ports here, transmit and receive, and you stick an aerial on that port there. And on the when you set the thing to receive, it's got a preamp for 2 meters or 70 sems or 23 sems, or a wideband preamp. And when you set the thing to transmit, it's got about a 1 watt PA out of the same port. This is an early prototype. The production ones have more bands. I had to reprogram the firmware on it this week, and I didn't know what sort of device it was. It's actually an Arduino Nano. So for the first time in about 5 years, I did some Arduino programming or flashing this week anyway. So that's the Lime RFE, and I hope to do a quick demo of that to publish something in CQTV. Winter Hill, the Raspberry Pi is upside down. It just fits better that way because you can then just put it on the printed circuit board. Apart from that, mainly writing CQTV articles this week, so not more from me. I will put it back round to Jim, and we look forward to seeing other people on the net next week. I've noticed Keith is going to be ready next week, we hope, and it's great to see all the watchers. How many have we got? We've got 42 watching the stream, and must have 10 or 20 watching us not transmitting on the satellite, so really good. G7NTG and the group G8GKQ.
Right, G8, GKQ, G7NT, G returning with the group, and hello again. Well, I have got a few instruments, so I can, these are just ones I've got handy, so I can give you an audio test if you want. In my lifetime, I've played 10 years professionally and semi-professionally for about another 45 years. So yeah, I can hold a tune. And here's an audio test if you want. So there you go. Right, Gareth, if you're still watching, and you need some transistors for your amplifier, I have some I've taken off a board. So there we go. The driver and the power transistor, the same power transistor I think as the one you have. Not absolutely certain, but if you want any of those, just give me a shout, because these are only spares. I had one board given to me as an organ donor so that I could remove. My Ryde is freezing up on me, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Yes, I'm going to have a play with the 30 terahertz. That's going to be interesting, sorting that out. Make a complete change for what I'm doing at the moment, so that's very good. So I haven't really got anything else to say, so I'm going to pass it on to those who have a lot more to say. Pass it on to John. So G7JTT from G7TG with the group on the net.
Right, okay. Let's just mute that. And yes, back to Portsdown 2020 now. Good evening to Dominique. Sorry, brain's going to funny gear. I see you was on the chat earlier. Your script is very, very good, to say the least. One other little project I'm going to show, which I'm sort of in the process of just finishing off. I'm sure we've all got old phones and phones in the cupboards, etc., which have got batteries in them that are reasonably okay. Or this particular one was an iPhone that someone had smashed the screen, and they were going to bin it. I said, no, all right with that, and managed to get the battery out of it. Anyway, so the idea with this thing is to use this box that I got at Ryde for £1 or something silly, well, I'll keep forgetting the camera's not up there anymore. Will go on the end at one end. A switch with center off, locking down, locking up, so on, off. The said battery with one of those TP, whatever it is, charger things on there, with the cut off when it gets too low volts, etc. And one of these little things which I found, these are £2 on eBay. They are titchy. Don't know how far it's going to go in. No, it's not bad, is it? No. Oh, there you go. No, it's not going to get any further than that. But basically, what it is, it's a step-up converter, but with fixed values out. So you've got an A and a B, and depending on whether you short the A and B, you either get 5 volts, 8 volts, 9 volts, or 12 volts. So obviously, 12 volts will do for one of the voltages required. 18 volts. Well, what I've discovered by looking at the circuit on there is that all we're doing effectively is parallel in a load of resistors across, and that's what the two jumpers are for. Well, when you're on the 12 volts, if you put 11k across it, which I happen to have some, it gives you 18 volts. So the idea is that this whole little thing will go into there and will be a battery operated bias T. So if I'm going to, if I'm using an SDR or something, I can't drive the LNB with it. I can use this if I'm out in the garden, just tweaking a dish or whatever. I can just go out there with the laptop, the SDR, and do it from that way. So anyway, it was just something that I've been playing around with for ages, and it's probably taken 6 months to get this far. So anyway, we might finish it one day. Right, with that, round to Rob, and I don't think I've got anything else to show. Not really, no. No, that's pretty much it, I'm afraid. Right, round to Rob, M0 DTS G7 JTT in the group.
Well, hey, wait, what's working? Right. All going to plan tonight. Whoops. That's okay then. Very good. Yeah, it was only one little thing one little software-y thing. I would imagine there's more to come. Why, one other software thing. And Colin was looking for a program to display multiple VLC streams at the same time, and this setup has kind of been worked on for Winter Hill as well, but it is quite easy to put 4 VLC displays into one program on, well, using C# anyway. Which I know everyone doesn't like, but it's just quick to do things. Done a little bit playing around with that. So desktop. So yeah, so on there at the moment there's a viewer that shows 4 streams at the same time. So the top left stream there. Well, there's a URL for each stream at the top. Or the bottom, depending on it's the top or the bottom. There's a reset button for each one because it doesn't automatically reset. As you know, VLC, when it's watching a stream from your receiver, doesn't auto reset on every signal. So you need to force that. But that's a one-click affair rather than stop and reload the link and all that, and the URL and things like that. So got a volume slider for each one, so you can. Doesn't actually work properly at the moment, but and yeah, at the bottom there, I've actually got one of the BATC streams. That's KM running in the bottom there. So it's actually watching a BATC stream as well as the top left, which is my own long-min receiver UDP. Top right is a VLC stream, a BATC stream, and the bottom right is one that isn't running at the moment. So and there's Terry waving on the on KM stream as well. So it's got multiple uses, but I would imagine it's quite useful for Winter Hill with the 4 receivers. If we put the auto reset, as in when you send the tune command to Winter Hill, it'll automatically reset the VLC. One of the VLCs, whichever one it's retuning in the window here. So you can watch 4 at once, and then if you click on one, it maximizes that one to full screen. Unfortunately, the demo doesn't work particularly well there because we've got everything at the same time. If I do that one, oh, yeah. Anyway, do EY one, that goes full screen. And then click again, it goes off full screen. So yeah. A little program so you can watch multiple streams at the same time. So that'll be handy. So a little bit of playing around with that. We'll get that closed off. Also been looking at another one as well, which actually basically selects repeater streams off BATC and adds the chat on the bottom. It's just kind of a bit of a tester thing because I don't know how to manipulate the actual login of it and things like that, but it's just an idea in the background. I haven't shared much with that yet, so that's working. So yeah, you can just select the list, it tells you all the repeaters that are online and all that sort of thing, and it displays it in VLC, so you get a lower latency stream. So if I select EY there, it logs into EY and so forth, or I don't know, GG for example, and it shows GG, so it's quite handy. Also does the member streams and the events one as well, so we can go to events and then we can go to QR100 and do that. So I know it's not web based, but it's a workaround temporarily to kind of get around the long delays. So there we are. So lots of little things going on in the background. Right. Yeah, your picture, John, is really good, but it's interesting how it looks so sharp. But I like it. It's really good, but it is super sharp on your face. It's really good. So that is excellent. Can't do that with mine. I don't have the options on this camcorder to do it unless I have the camcorder right in my face, and then maybe everything else behind would then go a bit blurry. Yeah, maybe it kind of works a bit better, but nah, it's too close for me. I don't like that. Right. Can't remember who was next now. I think along the same line, well, views we can see watch stream. Yeah, that's it. But I don't know. It's the problem with it is the security side of it and logging in and what you can post and can't post, and you know what I mean. There's all that lot which I don't deal with myself, so I don't do security side. I just do the does it work, and that's all I need to do. So don't release it to the general public. Right, NVIDIA Broadcaster. Ah, okay. I'll have to have a look at that at some point, John. Right, round to you, Mike. G0MJW and 0DTS on BATC Net. I don't think I've forgotten to mention anything, so should be good. Bye for now.
Thanks, Rob. G0MJW. I don't have much to add really, but I'm not having much success with this, Rob. So this is your multi-tuner. I've put in what I thought were my correct addresses and tried a few iterations, but not really got anywhere. It's not being tuned by this, as far as I can tell. So I'm doing something wrong. So perhaps you could explain later how to use it. But so far, not good. I've got my desktop set up. Incidentally, I've set up some shortcuts, so I can do this really quickly if I want to run the original version. I just have to click a shortcut. So that's the one Winter Hill version, and this is another Winter Hill version. Unfortunately, there ain't much to show at the moment, so you just get lots of copies of everything else. But it does work, which is the main point. I don't know what Noel's plans are for making the PCBs available, but it looks like they're ready for building, but I suspect Brian has still got some work to do on the software. So, I mean, he's done a really wonderful job so far, so it's really, really good. And works with Rob's tuner as well, which is nice. A few things need to be fixed there, a few things need to be added to make it. Oh gosh, what a frightening thought that is. 8 of me. Oh no, that's too much. Right, GTZ G0MJW.
Yes, that was that was quite scary. That 8 MJWs all at once. That was quite something else. Okay, it was interesting, Rob. Some interesting things there. I think. Yeah, I'm using the portable Chrome at the moment to watch streams. Seems to work quite well, but something like that to use VLC would be quite interesting. Couple of comments. I will also agree, John. Your video did look superb. I don't know because because they don't code the background particularly well. There's lots of bits for your face, but it looked very, very good. 30 terahertz. Looked at it, thought of it. No. You've got to draw the line somewhere. So I've done like, well, I'm not going to do heat, as I put on the chat. You know, soldering iron transmitters are really pushing it a little bit. So I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going down that route. And the whole music issue, I was surprised when I read the license to see it had been withdrawn. So I guess the issue, you need to be careful on your content, because no doubt there's a catch-all somewhere that says, the content must be of associate. I don't know, but certainly that doesn't exclude you from broadcasting anything that's got copyright, and that includes YouTube videos, of course. Anything that's on YouTube, you must obtain the copyright first before you transmit it, and then you need to be a bit careful. I guess the other gotcha is you're still not allowed to broadcast. They absolutely say that, so you must be in a QSO. Some YouTube is, but not all of it. So Creative Commons. But yeah, so broadcasting is a bit of an issue. But I did when QO100 first started, I asked TX Factor, and they were happy for that to be transmitted in on amateur television generally in the context of amateur radio. But you need to be careful with it, because it's obviously got adverts in there. There's some sponsorship adverts and some RSGB adverts. So you need to be a bit careful, but then you need to be careful not to take out the TX Factor credits. So there we are. I think that's all from me. Nothing else other than to say good night to you all, and look forward to meeting you again next week. And I'll pass it round to Martin and see what else he's got. But sorry, there are no musical instruments in this shack. I wouldn't know how or what to do with them. G4FKK G8GT.
Okay, Noel, G4FKK. I've got a picture up. Well, I'm not sure I know what to do with them anymore, but interesting, Jim, that you've been playing that long. I've been semi-pro for years and years, but I was professional for a few years when I ran a hardcore rave record label. Just me and a friend of mine, and we wrote all the so-called tunes. And I was interested. I was wondering what I'd do about that if I wanted to play those on Noel, because they are copyright, but I own the copyright, so I guess I could do that and then sue myself if I was that bored. Anyway, what else was there? Just a couple of notes. The Lime RFE looks great, Dave. And yeah, I was watching your GNU radio graph earlier, Michelle, and that looks a wonderful thing. but I think you said you hadn't drawn it up yourself, but it looks very impressive results you were getting. And bonsoir to Bernard. It's nice to see you on DVB-T there, I think. And yeah, I'll join in with everyone else. John, your picture's a cracking picture tonight. In fact, Noel, yours is particularly sharp as well. And yeah, I'm running 264 2/3, and so were you. So my picture looks horrible. Mind you, has got me in it, so that doesn't help. So yeah, good pictures all round really tonight, generally speaking. And Rob, I love the way you knock things up out of C# as trivial. But I have done some C# programming, and the less I can do of that, probably the better. Right, okay, that's enough drivel. Back round to you, Michelle. I think you're still there, so HB9 DUG, this is G4 Fox King standing by. Good night all, see you next week.
Okay, thank you for this second round. Well, just to say regarding GNU Radio, is what is fantastic is that you have a lot of library of blocks which are made to do different things, and basically you have a series of blocks to do DATV, and within the GNU Radio you have some basic examples that you can take and then change them to fit your needs. In fact, is what I did. Basically the part which is decoding, I took it from the example, and then you had to adapt it to your SDR equipment. So Dave was talking of something very interesting that we are also facing in Switzerland, is that the technology is going so fast that new guys who want to start DATV, they are a bit puzzled with all the different solutions, and then facing so many different solutions, they say, oh no, it's too complex, and they go away. So in 2019 at Am Radio, Dave should remember that, I did a small presentation called DATV Solution, What to Choose. And I did kind of graph at the time, trying to show all the different solutions that are available on Windows and on Linux, and that you can see on this graph. It's obsolete. So I think I'm going to update it with what we got today. So it was one graph for transmitting, and I did a second one, which is here, regarding receiving. And there it was even worse, because we had really a lot of solutions, and that is not easy to explain to newcomers to DATV. Okay, so that finished also my talk for tonight, and I still have a question for Dave. There's a few of the guys around the Lake of Geneva, Lac Léman we call it, looking for the tuner, the DVB-T tuner, and they asked me to ask you about when they are going to be available on the shop, BATC shop. Okay, let's say I wish you all a nice end of
Good. Okay. Sorry, laughing at the Noel's response on the chat. I'll answer your question first, Michelle. This is GHGQ responding to HB9DUG. When we get them from China, as Noel says, we have paid the money. They are making them. And I don't think we've had any notification that they've been shipped yet. So we are as much in the dark as you are on when the tuners will arrive, Michelle. But they are being made, or they have stolen our money. We're not sure. But as Noel says, Chinese New Year did get in the way. Yes, there are so many solutions. I have spent most of today writing a CQTV article saying this is the way to get started on Portstown. Start with the Portstown 4 and you'll get the building blocks, and then you go from there. That's the BATC way. There are other ways, but that is the major thing. I keep looking at the picture and thinking my lockdown hair looks a lot better on the picture than it does in real life. I'm getting really fed up with it. Winter Hill software. Brian has passed me the Winter Hill software. I have to load it. I haven't got it handy actually on my Winter Hill, but I've already taken a look at it, and that will be done soon. To coincide with the CQTV issue, so it'll all get launched around the CQTV time. Software stuff, Rob. Once you get proficient in the language, you can just make it fly like you clearly can with the C#. Really, some really impressive bits there. Wish I could do graphical stuff like that. I can do back-end stuff, but not front-end stuff. And some impressive musical instruments around. None here, though. Well, good week. Thank you very much for coming on, everybody, and doing the show and tell, as usual. And look forward to seeing you all next week. In the meantime, please have a think about anything you can write up for CQTV, and email it to Noel or I or the editor at batc.tv. So, good night all, and GHGKQ closing the BATC net and leaving the frequency clear for anybody else.